take a motion to accept the minutes from the 29th, from May 29th. Seconded, all in favor? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. The next meeting of the board will be July 17th at 6 p.m. in Chambers, and in July we only have one meeting. So please be clear about that. We have one meeting in July and one in August. First up, we have a one-day permit, wine and malt Feast of Three Saints. For 3 days. They all set with everything? We're good, okay. Seconded. All in favor? Ayes have it. You're all set. Congratulations. We'll see you that weekend. All right. Next up, Arismendi's Kitchen, 592 Essex Street. You want to call and see if there's Arismendi's Kitchen.
Arismendi's Kitchen? Arismendi. Arismendi.
Leave it for later. Oh, they're here? Okay. Hi. 592 Essex Street. So we are in need of a liquor liability insurance.
Yes, I have everything, but she wants to change the date.
Okay. And what is the requested change of date?
Either one can change it.
So you want to keep July 12th?
Yeah.
Okay. 80 guests, bartender, tip certified, the fee's been paid. 5 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Madam Chair, may I be heard on that?
Absolutely.
Once again, be consistent with the new licenses that we've been handing out over the last year and a half. I would ask that the hour would be reduced to 11 o'clock. Be consistent with the rest of the restaurants that we've issued licenses to.
Lieutenant Cerullo has recommended an 11 p.m. closing instead of a 1 a.m. Any motion?
Motion to approve, the reduced hours till 11 p.m. and contingent upon getting the liquor liability insurance.
I second that. All in favor? Ayes have it. So you need to make sure you get your insurance certificate over to Pat, that's your insurance. And then she'll give you the license then, which you want for the license. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. EB Entertainment, DBA Club Paradise.
Eric.
It's gonna get loud. It's gonna get loud, it's gonna get warm in here, so please bear with us.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson and members of the Commission. My name is Robert Kelly. I'm an attorney in Lawrence with us at 130 Parker Street. I represent EV Entertainment, who's present before you in the person of Eric Vasquez. We were the subject to a 6-month suspension back in December of 2018. We have close to being able to have served that suspension. There was a 1-year suspension imposed with 6 months to be served. The balance being suspended till the end of this calendar year, December 5th of 2019. And we took an appeal to the ABCC. They came back and sustained the Commission's decision about suspending the license for 6 months. They made a recommendation that it be suspended for 2 years. However, the Commission that presided heard the evidence. Obviously, you members weren't either on the board or able to hear the evidence.
I think that was our first meeting, actually.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't?
No, it was not, notwithstanding your good memory, but
It's not all that great.
Member Hernandez and Member Martin heard the testimony, imposed the 1-year suspension with 6 months to be served, the balance suspended for 1 year. We're asking that the board reimpose that sentence. Eric having serve the 6-month suspension, and he's certainly willing to acknowledge all of the suggestions and of this board, and we would hope the 6-month balance would be suspended till the end of this calendar year.
Thank you.
That's enough, Eric.
Any comments or recommendations from the fire department or police department? Okay,
May I be heard?
absolutely.
Yes, Director of Back Control, this is, we may not have bearing on this decision, but they were cited for having hookah pipes present back in October of last year. They were issued a fine of $100, they have not paid those fine.
Okay.
You
Could we get that cleared up?
got a C note on you? We'll make it
Yes.
available within 24 hours.
Thank you, Attorney Kelly, appreciate that. At this point, I would make a motion that we abide by the previous decision, that he be able to have his license returned July 16th, with the contingency that there needs to be an inspection from Inspectional Services and a 304 from Lawrence Fire Department.
I'll second that one. And $100 to pay, if you're friendly with it.
Sure.
Pay that.
And that $100 be paid to tobacco control.
I can't let it know, but you got the
He'll take care of that.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you. Get me the C note.
And make sure you make your appointments.
He's got the inspections to be done.
Fabulous.
And,
What does it say? Oh my God.
No,
Castillo Food Enterprises, Inc., wine and malt package store, 271 Lawrence Street. Motion for discussion and enhanced consideration.
Ready? Ready, have the, I mean, for a minute, I gotta, grab another thought. Okay, Freddie, step right up here. You're an honorable young man. We're asking the board, I guess we're not asking for any relief. We're just kind of experiencing and expressing our frustration. I suggest you've read the motion, that we came before the board and asked for this beer and wine package store that supplies the livelihood of Freddie and his cousin, or his cousin is, and Andy Minaya, oh God. And they work very hard at these premises, and it's at 271 Lawrence Street, and they applied for this liquor license in good conscience, and they went through a number of scrutiny procedures, both by your board and the local police department and the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, and when they appeared before the board in June of 2018, they were granted the license. And obviously, the license is subject to the approval of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. It took an inordinate amount of time for that process to take place before the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission approved the license. And they approved the license May 31st. And when he came to say, okay, here's the approval, I want to pay for my license, they said, no more licenses available. No, that can't be. When the Lawrence Licensing Board says, we approve your license for a beer and wine package store, that license, from whatever availability there is, assuming there's obviously an availability, that license then should be isolated and not allowed to be applied for by some other worthy applicant. So we're saying, you know, here's this guy whose work has gone through numerous meetings with Lieutenant Cirillo, with Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission's investigators, and they put him through a scrutinizing process that was worthy of their investigation. And then to find out, at the end of that entire process, when the ABCC said, yes, you got it, you're approved, he comes back and said, you know that license that you approved for me, here I am, I'm a worthy applicant, I want to exercise my rights under that license. We're told the license was given to someone else. So, the reason I'm here tonight is on behalf of my good client Freddie and cousin Andy, is just to express that frustration, that I would suggest that the process that was followed by previous boards should really not be followed. If there's a license available and the board approves the license, that license should be isolated until such time as the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission says yay or nay. And when the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission in this case said, albeit a long time later, said yay, Lawrence said nay. And we're just frustrated, and when my clients are frustrated, of course I'm frustrated all the time, but when my clients are frustrated, I just wanted to express that to the board. And we're still interested in acquiring a license by whatever means, nothing illicit, that we would ask you to maybe place this in the applicant's file, that he has been previously approved for a license at the same premises, and that would be a consideration in any future license application.
I feel your frustration.
That's it.
I feel your frustration on this one, Attorney Kelly.
You don't feel it as much as Freddie?
No, I don't. But I will make sure that this gets into the file and that we have,
I appreciate that very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
For coming.
Freddie, good luck, sorry to get caught.
Johanny Gomez, DBA Flow Restaurant. A copy of the agenda? We have an extra copy of the agenda, let's see. I might have an extra copy. Check and make sure that that doesn't have any notes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is Johanny good? Okay. Come on in.
She next.
Yeah, she's next.
Don't you look cute. Good, how about you?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Come over here, we're gonna see if
Hi, how are you?
you need any more inspections. I don't think you do.
Dye inspection?
No, we don't know.
All right, so, we were continued from May 29th. And there have been still unsuccessful attempts for,
No, but
Inspections
we
or all
have a lot of
inspections?
inspections, and I believe Lieutenant, or Captain Cirillo can bring that up here.
you just gave him
Can bring you up to
you
date.
just gave him a promotion.
Well, he certainly deserves it, in my estimation.
So,
Lieutenant Cirillo.
Inspector Hu has done a number of inspections over there. The last inspection, he found to be alcohol on premises that still hasn't been returned. I spoke to Attorney Kelly. He assured me that all the alcohol was to be removed yesterday. I believe Dave went back over there yesterday.
I have not got a report, but.
Yes, Dave,
Okay, the report.
Okay.
That's all been removed.
So all the alcohol has been removed.
Mhm.
So we're good on the police end.
Okay.
And I think the fire department.
Fire department did a 304 inspection and everything was okay. Fire department.
Okay.
So we're good to go.
All right then.
So if we're in conformance, can we pass this along to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission?
I will make a motion that we approve and pass along.
Thank you very much.
I want to do a 6-month review though.
Sure,
If-
whatever you'd
if
like.
that's your, yep, so we'll put a 6-month review on that. So I make the motion,
I'll second the motion.
all in favor? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All that stuff is in my garage. This.
Bob, not funny.
Only kidding.
All right, just make a, yeah, we'll make a quick, he's withdrawn it, so let's make a motion to remove it from the agenda. All in favor? Ayes have it. Remove that from the agenda. California Nightclub, DBA Attica at 1 Mill Street. Change of manager to Yoel Herrera, change of officers and stock. And we also have a second item with,
All the papers are together.
Yeah, no.
For the transfer, for change of manager and stock
Mhm.
in the office.
Great, that's wonderful. There's a whole other.
May I suggest we take, although there are 2 items on the agenda, may I suggest we take one item at a time. The first one being the change of manager and transfer of stock. We've applied for this, the matter has been pending with the necessary upgrade of the application for some 6 months actually, but we reactivated it to allow for the present stockholder and manager, Edward Herrera, to transfer the stock to Edward Herrera and Adonis Rodriguez, and to allow them to serve as officers and to allow Yoel to serve as manager. And the basis of that transfer was the assumption of the debt that was owed by California Nightclub, and we've presented the board a summary of what that assumption is. And we've provided queries for the necessary parties that have all proved to my notice that the queries have been without blemish, if you will. This is Adonis, and this is Yoel Herrera and Adonis Rodriguez. They have a vibrant facility at 1 Mill Street, and obviously when you have a large and vibrant facility, it's subject to scrutiny, as well it should be, and they're doing the best they can to conform to the scrutiny requirements by the local authorities.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you there. For this particular item, are they all set with all their paperwork,
Yes.
fees are all in
Everything is
order?
set, they have their certificates for the DUA and the DOR.
Okay,
Everything is good.
Okay.
Chair, point of clarification.
sure.
I'm under the understanding that when there's any pending discipline issues,
Mm-hmm,
you cannot transfer a license. That kind of puts a hold on it.
okay,
That's my understanding, and we've done that in the past, and they have a pending matter before the board tonight. So it would be my opinion that this be put on hold till after that
so
time.
after that matter is, okay, so we can take them,
I would suggest there is no pending matter until there's an adjudication before this board. We've come before this board with an application going back to 2018. We have clarified, there was a pending action before the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission at that time that resulted in the issuance of a warning. And I'm
Okay.
sure you have that paperwork. We are now in good stead. We're applying now in good stead to change the operators of the organization. If, as a result of some subsequent hearing, even though it might be minutes later, there is some sort of adjudication of some impropriety, that can go along to whatever authorities it has to go along to for their consideration.
okay,
But
thank you.
they are in good stead now.
When the application was put in and all of this, right, Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how you would consider the relevance of this, but I'm looking at the names here. Is it Yoel Pereira?
Yes.
Is that you, sir?
Yes.
So we received a report from the fire department, I'm sure Captain Delaney has more information about this, with this gentleman's name in it, and specifically saying that he was uncooperative in an investigation looking for some hot coals that were at this location. So we're about to make this person the manager, we're changing it to the manager.
Excuse me,
To
this
a,
says.
hold on, I'm not done speaking. We're about to change this, if this is about change of manager, if that's what this issue is about, what I'm saying is we have a report that says that this manager we're about to change to was uncooperative. And I think at this point, this is the relevant time to at least hear from Captain Delaney on this issue and how he feels about this manager.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, what I suggest that we do, is table this till we hear all matters, all pertinent evidence on this, and then make a decision based on that. Because there's lots that we need to hear about, and it does concern me that there's information about the potential new manager in relation to the next thing that we're gonna take up on this particular establishment. So, that being said, we'll have the hearing as well for the items that have come up. So, we're gonna take them both at once. Thoughts? All right. So the matter at hand, and I'll just read real quick from here. The licensing board will hold a meeting on the 19th in City Hall at 200 Common Street. At time, we'll hear testimony from the Lawrence Police Department and testimony from the Lawrence Fire Department to determine if you have violated 201 CMR 2.05 by allowing an illegality upon your licensed premises. And you have received this information, yes?
We have.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we are going to be discussing Lawrence Police Department Incident Report 19003590 dated 6/2/2019 and Lawrence Fire Department Incident Report number 19-0003-104 dated 6/2/2019.
If we're going to be discussing that, I was just provided a number of photos that have direct relevance to the suggestion that there's been an illegality.
Yeah.
We have not had time to review it,
Okay,
we have not had time to prepare for it,
okay.
and we respectfully request a continuance to the next meeting.
Okay,
Excuse me?
yeah,
The fire department would be against extending this at all, as we feel that this situation is an imminent danger to public safety. The things that went on that night, we actually requested it to be earlier than tonight.
yes.
Going another month, we don't feel it would be in the best interest of public safety.
Okay, and having said that,
In all fairness, you can't drop these pictures on us at 5 minutes to 6 and expect us to be adequately available to represent our clients, to give a suggestion as what these pictures mean, to interpret them, to respond to them. It's totally unfair, totally unreasonable. We were supplied with pictures from the roof, and we're prepared to respond to those. But these new pictures saying that there are other things, that's a complete aberration when it comes to the rights of these license holders. How can you drop it on us at 5 minutes before the hearing and expect us to be prepared to respond?
I understand your frustration.
Thank you very much, that's all I can ask.
At this point in time, though, knowing that the fire department has called this situation imminent danger to the public, I'll hear Captain Delaney.
Do we want to start with the police report?
Doesn't matter, you can stop for a second.
Okay, I'm gonna read a report from 6/2/2019 from Deputy McGinnis. On June 2nd, 2019, I, Deputy John McGinnis, was assigned to Group 3 as the shift commander. At approximately 19:12, a box alarm came in for box 211, 1 Mill Street, Lawrence, Mass. The alarm sounded. Upon arrival at 1 Mill Street, I observed customers evacuating the building. I was greeted by the building manager, who advised that he believes the smoke detector was activated due to cooking. The fire alarm control panel read smoke detected kitchen. I sent Engine 5 to investigate the area. Lieutenant McDermott confirmed that it was just cooking and set off the alarms. Building manager advised me that he's having problems with the exhaust system in the kitchen. I authorized him to use a smoke detector cover just when he is cooking on a temporary basis until he fixes his exhaust system. At that time, I cleared all companies from 1 Mill Street. Approximately 15 minutes later, upon returning to quarters, I received an anonymous concern that something suspicious was going on at 1 Mill Street. After our departure, the anonymous caller sent me an email of a video that showed several employees on the roof of 1 Mill Street that appeared to be hiding several large barrels and plastic bins in some compartments on the roof. It's unclear what they were hiding, but given the nature of the situation, I notified Fire Prevention Captain Patrick Delaney. I also instructed Captain Delaney to notify Lawrence Police of the situation. Captain Delaney is going to investigate the contents of the video and the report. Also have another report from Lieutenant Miller. Fire Prevention responded to this location for an inspection of the property after receiving a video of workers on the roof with numerous bags of containers after a previous fire department response that evening, incident number 3104. Upon inspection of the property, hookah materials were found within the occupancy with workers running to hide materials. Immediate safety concerns arose when smoldered charcoal from the hookahs was found in the rear stairwell and roof area of the occupancy. Building owner Joel Herrera was uncooperative and confrontational when asked where other smoldering charcoal was located. Captain Delaney requested the deputy chief and apparatus with a thermal imager camera to respond to assist in finding smoldering charcoal. Occupancy was temporarily shut down until we would locate other smoldering charcoal. Deputy Chief John McGinnis, Ladder 5 and Rescue 1 responded to the scene along with the Lawrence Police Department. Please refer to the investigative report for documentation. So, we received the video and we have some pictures, still images of things, they're putting some of the charcoals, hiding them up on the roof. When we went back the second time, we did find some charcoal when everybody was hastily running around putting things wherever, 10 to 15 people trying to hide things. Some charcoal briquettes fell and we found one actively burning on the stairwell. From the previous video, we knew they were hiding them up on the roof, so we went to the roof to find these. Up on the roof, you see a video of, you see a picture of a smoke detector in the attic that is not sprinkled, that is covered, because they had, I'm thinking, bags of hookah that could activate the smoke detector. When we opened the roof hatch, we had 2 briquettes actively smoldering, giving off smoke in the rain. That is very concerning. It's a combustible roof. We asked to speak to the manager. At that time, before that, Lieutenant Samad asked if, Sergeant Samad asked if we should close the business. And we said, no, let's investigate and see what's going on. We asked Joel where the rest of the charcoal is. He stated that it's your job, go find it. So hearing that, knowing that we had 2 places of burning material, we decided to evacuate the building, close the business, get some trucks over there with thermal imager cameras, and search the building. Several times he was asked to cooperate, just let us know because you took a bad situation and you made it a lot worse by hiding everything, and he was uncooperative. Being a public official and walking into a public place, as if you walk up and you start to see people running everywhere, it's very unnerving. We have SOG guidelines for thought process when we go things, and what's SOG, a dangerous situation? If I was not accompanied by the police, seeing in a public place everybody scattering, running, I would have evacuated and I would have called for the police. Knowing that we had the presence of police there, we continued our investigation, and as we see some of the pictures, it's in the front page, we have the top, if you wonder what the pictures are, that's actively smoldering charcoal, and there was just numerous amounts of these briquettes, of the heads with the charcoal in them, and it is a very dangerous situation. We did speak to the state fire marshal about it, and we showed some of the pictures, and he was basically appalled about what he saw. Some of those burn marks that you see in that establishment that are on the first floor, second floor, third floor, are really deep burn marks that takes a lot of heat in a wooden floor to make those marks. It's not just, something, a cigarette ash dropped or something. This is an imminent danger to public safety. The holes and everything that we saw is just unacceptable. And for an establishment not to be cooperative with the public official and just tell us where the things are, and to start telling people to take out your cameras and start filming us and try to make our job harder, it was just a bad situation. And the fire department's appreciative that we had the police department there to accompany us on this. If you take a lot of those charcoal hookahs, the heads, there's probably over, I counted over 50. There's 50 to 100.
For the record, I have never seen them.
If you look at some of these burn marks in the floor, like I said, it's on the first floor, second floor, third floor. It's not 1, 2, or 3. I mean, it may be a good time to go take a look over there someday, because it's something that can't be hidden. You'd have to change the whole floor up. Those burn marks remain there, and they're all over the building. They're in the rugs, they're in the hardwood floor, and it's, as we said, this is an imminent danger to public safety. There's going to be a fire if this activity is allowed to continue. And the uncooperation of Yoel, I'm not sure if he's the manager, the owner, what he is, but he was very uncooperative in this investigation. He made things a lot harder for us that night. It could have been a lot different if he just brought everything in, told us where it is, to have everybody running all over the place, hiding things. Like I said, they took a bad situation and they magnified it, 10 times.
Thank you, Captain Delaney. Could you, not the Director of our Tobacco Control Board, can you just clarify for me, for the record, the law around smoking in public places, and specifically the law around hookahs?
Yes. Well, the state law, chapter 270, section 22, prohibits smoking in those workplaces. In the local board of health regulation prohibits the presence of hookah pipes at establishments subject to the jurisdiction of the board of health. This particular location, all the other bars and nightclubs in the city have been notified in writing several times. As a matter of fact, Attica was cited last year in March for having hookah pipes present and for having allowed people to smoke. And we issued us a couple citations. I don't know what the status of those citations are at this point, and just recently now they're in violation again. So having the hookah pipes in the closed place is a violation of board health regulation, and having people smoke in there is also a violation of state law.
Thank you. Councilor Roll?
So I'll read from Sergeant Samad's report the night of the incident. During the course of the evening, he responded, himself and Sergeant Rogers became aware of a video that was sent to the police department from a concerned citizen in the downtown area. The video, taken around 7 o'clock, shows several males on top of Attica, Club Attica, at 1 Mill Street, moving several containers around the roof in the inside of the building, from the inside of the building. The citizen became concerned because the actions of the individuals on the roof was very unusual and it made them nervous. So they contacted the Lawrence Fire Department. The citizen stated that the individuals placed these containers on the roof when the fire department showed up and removed them from the roof when the Lawrence Police Department left the scene. The citizen even mentioned the possibility of a meth lab. At this point, I spoke with Sergeant Rogers, who contacted Sergeant Boyer, who heads the drug unit, to get his thoughts on the incident. Short time later, Fire Inspector Lieutenant Graham Miller contacted Sergeant Samad and mentioned the same video. He informed me that the Lawrence Fire Department was going to conduct a possible fire code violation at Club Attica and wanted the police department to be aware and to assist them as needed. It was then determined that because the club was very busy on that night, citing firefighter safety, Sergeant Benier and Sergeant Samad accompanied Lieutenant Miller, Captain Delaney, and Inspector Blanchett to the premises. Upon arrival at the club, it appeared to be very active as they climbed up the steps. He observed 7 people taking off running up the first floor stairwell, which appeared to be with hookah equipment. The inspectors ascended the stairs while attempting to locate the management to inform them of the situation, but to no avail, they couldn't. It should be noted that several people who appeared to be employees were not helpful at all. Officers then went upstairs to the second floor and split up to find inspectors. I entered a large room with a dance floor and observed approximately 6 people frantically trying to hide hookah paraphernalia in a large black trash bag and boxes, including hookah bongs, tin foil bowls, and other items used to smoke hookah. These individuals were focused on hiding these items. They did not see me until I yelled for them to stop. When I did, the 3 males in a group took off running down the far stairwell and refused to stop, even when ordered to do so. There was burnt smell of charcoal in the room. Fearing for their safety, more officers and firefighters' safety, he requested more officers to respond to the club, which they did. Fire inspectors then located trash bags on the stairway leading to the roof with hookah equipment in it. Also discovered charcoal burning on the roof. While inside the second floor dance area where the hookah equipment was found, there was a lot of chatter on club walkie-talkies sitting nearby on the table. Sergeant Benier heard someone say on it, "Hurry up, lock the doors, don't let them in." Based on the non-cooperation with the management and the club employees, and not knowing if there was any more fire hazards to be discovered and left unattended, Captain Delaney ordered the club to be emptied and closed temporarily, citing safety for the patrons and employees inside of the club should a fire break out. At this point, in an orderly fashion, officers asked the DJ to shut music down, asked patrons to leave temporarily. Officer Moretta assisted in Spanish and even politely asked patrons to pay their bills in a timely fashion. Deputy Chief McGinnis arrived on scene with more firefighters for public safety reasons to help with the inspection. Eventually, the manager, owner, Yoel Heredia, presented himself and became engaged when he learned the club was being shut down. He stated that we were to blame for losing 20 grand in business. He implied that we were picking on his club, even though all other clubs in Lawrence use hookahs. I attempted to explain to him the situation, but he kept making it seem like everything was no big deal. We advised him of the video and allowed him to see a small clip. He denied knowing if any of his employees were on the roof earlier, and denied that nobody was talking on walkie-talkies. Deputy Chief McGinnis eventually allowed the club to reopen when public safety was no longer at risk, and I will forward this report to he forwarded it to the Alcohol Commission as well as myself. just one statement, I know Captain Delaney referred to the safety issue, but I just wanna make a note that, under the rules and regulations put forth in every license, it is not the decision of the club not to cooperate. They must cooperate. When licensed, especially licensed investigators of this board are on premises, they are to cooperate to the fullest, okay? Not to tell us to find it, not to tell us that we're not allowed in there. And now this gentleman is before us tonight, and he wants to take over as owner. Now, in previous engagements with these two gentlemen, I've had nothing but respect for them, they've had nothing but respect for me, they've cooperated. But after
So
reading
why,
this.
why now
Hold
is different?
hold on,
Okay, say
hold
it.
on. Can you let
Because
him,
you
hold
went
on,
before and we sound like person.
Mr.
He just
Herrera?
mentioned it.
Mr.
Nah,
Herrera?
it's lies.
Mr.
Because
Herrera?
you went down with that.
Mr. Herrera,
Okay,
can you please let him finish, and then I will allow you to speak, absolutely.
okay.
So reading these reports and hearing these statements, not only from Captain Delaney as well as the other officers that were on premise, this is outrageous. We're gonna allow these two gentlemen to become managers of clubs when they acted this way on Sunday night. And again, he's saying they're lying, but I have a report from Sergeant Samad, I have a report from Sergeant Bonilla, I have a report from Captain Delaney, that all say otherwise. So all these gentlemen are all making this story up against this one owner because they have it out for them. Find that very hard to believe. And again, my point would be that at this time, at the very least, we hold off on allowing any transfer. I know we're coupling it together, but any transfer to these new owners should be held off at this time.
Do you have any questions? Or would you like to hear? Yeah. I'm happy to hear from.
Can I say something first?
This is Adonis, this is
It is very interesting. I don't know if you know this. The two, I don't know if it's a version, but what they write, they have written in the papers. Mr. Firefighter, I forgot his name, excuse me. He was trying to put us, him, that like if he went up and talked to them right away, ever since he saw them, he was talking like he get aggressive or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then when we hear Mr. Cirulo talking, then you can
Sorry,
see that,
could you repeat that last part?
that he, you were trying to put him as he was aggressive like right away.
Like he was arrested?
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Right away.
That he was being aggressive with you and non-cooperative from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
So when you hear what Simar says, it was after he saw that we were being empty. Like when everybody was told to get out of the building, then he turned on a little bit. I don't know if he said something that he was supposed to say or whatever. But as our understanding, this thing has been happening here for a long time, and they have never get of the people out of the establishment. A day that it's basically the day that we pay everything. Like that day, Sunday, it's a pretty good day for us, and that's like our main day that we take to pay all our bills and everything. I'm just telling, just to emphasize that it wasn't like at the beginning maybe that he did what he did. I don't know what he did, because I went to the building like after what happened.
Thank you.
First of all,
Can I respond to what he
Hold on,
just said?
let me allow them,
First
and
of
I'll
all,
give you guys a chance.
first of all, for you at the time,
If you would address the board, please,
Okay.
and not,
yes, if
This
if
is
you
your
have-
Herrera.
My name is Robert.
thank you.
His perception from me, if he was aggressive, I'm totally sorry. I apologize about that. But you need to understand that, like Tony mentioned, and Mr. Cirulo know us from like, I don't know, maybe a year that we've been running. He know how was Attica before us. It was a mess. So we took it over, and even Miss Pat know what was the thing over there. So we we are allowed to hold 375 people on the second floor. We just hold on to 300. And the first floor, we just hold them to 250, and we allow to 350. So and he knows that we're running things the right way. So the Sunday, first of all, they show up like it was some criminal inside the business. So they just go, they never ask for the manager, and they right away say to DJ, just shut down the music, and everybody gotta go. So everybody just left without paying the tab. And this is the point that I got, okay, why it's gotta be like that? Because you went to other places, and you never do that. So if we do have hookah and we already know that it was illegal, my understanding was you give us a ticket and then situation here. So Ms. McGinnis, I think is the deputy, we was talking like person, because the other guy, they just getting on me. Because they trying to say that we was doing some, like the report say, Christian math lab. When you show up to a business and tell a business owner that you're trying to do drugs, how you gonna feel? So it's like you don't have respect for me. Because some neighbors send you a video and you just come with 2 police and like you're looking for Bin Laden or some shit like that. I'm sorry, for something like that. They went there before, he went there before, and everything was moved. Because they went there and asked for the manager, we talked, what do you need? Is that happened before, yes or no?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So, now, you see, like I saw the report, they just dropped the picture today. They put in front of you, it was like something that people gonna die inside the club. If we weren't gonna die before the club, why they just remain shut down the rest of the night? Because it was too risky for the public. And they just told me, okay, we're gonna go now, and you can go and run your business. My understanding is, if it's a hazard, or it's a very danger like he's putting right now, my understanding is you shut down the business. Because it's very, very not safety for the public. I understand that night, maybe I was talking, because my second language is English, maybe it's a little misunderstanding between them and me. But I don't have nothing but respect with both parties. And they know. I don't know if they have something in mind to do to us. But Mr. Cirillo knows how we run the business. And they know how we run the business. Because we've been running the business and trying to do the transfer for a long time. So don't put us like we trying to burn the business with a lot of people inside, because they know everybody doing the hookup. And no one say that, or say, you have maybe a couple of clubs outside. And when you went there, they don't shut down the club. That was my concern at the time. Why you shut down the club? You should talk to me. This is the wrong thing that you do, and we talk like person. This was my only concern at the time. I never did respect him. I never did respect anybody. I know Mr. Simar from a long time ago because he's always go around the business. And we've been talking. We've been talking. Even at the end of the he said, okay, just go to the city hall and try to put that legal, because you're running a good business right here. Don't damage the business doing hookah. We understand that hookah is illegal. My understanding on the point was, okay, you went to the business and give us a ticket. This is the first time that we had an issue with hookah. Because you need to understand, yeah, this is the first time.
Actually, it's not. It's the second time. The first time happened in March last
No,
year.
because there's certain,
No, it wasn't.
this is the thing. Back then, you see all the club at the same time. It wasn't like it was us. It was all the club, because at that time,
Okay.
nobody know it was legal or illegal.
I think I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
What do you need a lawyer for? I mean,
Right? Like, you're paying him?
Yeah.
You did just fine.
Well, not much, but,
Attorney Kelly.
well, Commissioners, obviously, on the night in question, the fire department arrived and because of the smoke alarms going off, and it was determined that there was a malfunction in the kitchen and the ventilation system wasn't working, the fire department instructed them to cover the smoke detectors. We remember
Cover.
being,
In the-
Singular, sorry, through the chair, singular,
That's-
not
that-
plural.
Well, I was gonna
Well,
go
cover
correct.
whatever, the
Cover the
smoke-
one next to
one in
the,
the
yeah.
kitchen.
smoke detector in the kitchen, and take it off when the system alleviated itself, and, then later, the matter was another, some interested neighbor, who must have a real problem, putting out his camera on his window and taking pictures. If that's all this guy's gonna do, whoever he is,
Not my concern what he has to do.
that's right, but,
That has no bearing.
I understand, but I mean, this anonymous caller also mentioned, maybe they've got a meth lab. I mean, if that isn't nuts, what is? So the fire department arrived again, and there were no doors closed. The doors were wide open. They went up to the first floor, the second floor, the third floor. And after the problem in the kitchen, they removed trash to the third floor. What's wrong with that? Did anyone see anybody smoking a hookah? No! Is there anyone saying, no, there's nobody smoking a hookah? But they went up to the third floor, it started raining, the people brought the bags back down, and, they said they want to cooperate. We got a little bit of a language problem here. When police and fire come in, is it likely that some employees might say, let me get the hell out of here? Who knows what they're gonna do or accuse me of?
Oh, yeah.
And, that's the way it happens.
Yeah.
Who are you? What's your citizenship? What are you doing? Is this a sanctuary city or isn't it? And,
I take offense to that.
well, you should.
Chair.
And, because
I
it
do as
happens.
well.
I do as well.
That's neither here nor there.
That's right.
So
And,
I would ask you, Attorney Kelly, to stick to,
Well, I'm saying there was no obstruction to their entering the premises. No one blocked their way, the doors were wide open, and, they're gonna cooperate. Well, they cooperate as best they can, but people have rights, you don't have to testify against yourself. Oh, no, you're gonna tell me the truth about everything. Does anybody give a Miranda? No, you don't have to tell me that, you don't have to tell me anything, you don't have to speak to me. Oh, that's what police officers usually do if they're in some sort of criminal investigation. But if they're in some sort of investigation and people don't want to speak, that's not illegal. You don't have to speak. Here I am, I'm the manager. You say, you want to find charcoal, go find it. What am I here to do? Purge my soul to incriminate
Okay.
myself?
all right, I understand. But
Madam Chair, can we
we're, yes, I want to establish though, that you have admittedly agreed that hookahs are illegal and that you have had them, and that you thought you were going to get a ticket. Those were your words, yes?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanna
But for the
make sure
benefit-
I'm hearing correctly.
For the benefit of all the license holders, we need a clearer policy.
And that is coming.
We've been before this board with non-charcoal hookahs, are they legal?
Nope. All hookahs are illegal, period.
But we know there's an environment, a heritage.
Understood, but the Board of Health in the city of Lawrence has banned hookahs, all hookahs.
Except if you go to Methuen, you'd be all right.
But that's Methuen,
Special permit.
that's Methuen's rights. I'm talking about what we do here. And the Board of Health has said, no hookahs, Jack, period. End of story, right? I mean, that's the law.
I agree with you,
Thank
Madam Chairperson.
So first off, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, when I took over this position, I set up a meeting for all the club owners. We went line by line over every rule and regulation, okay, to make it crystal clear. I also made myself available to the two owners, sat with them, and discussed what they should do, what they shouldn't do. We spoke of
not permitting illegalities, not using entertainment or hookahs to pay your bills. Again tonight, he's telling me this is his most busiest night, he makes $20,000 off of things that he shouldn't be doing, which we spoke about at length. That's first off. The fact that we have never emptied or evacuated another bar, that's a lie. I've been on several occasions with the fire department where hookahs have been used and the CO2 levels have been skyrocketed and the fire department has ordered the evacuation. So again, that's another inconsistency. Furthermore, when licensed inspectors of this board go to a club, they are not protected by Miranda. This is not a criminal investigation. When we tell him he needs to respond or cooperate, it is right, clear in the policies and the rules and regulations when they come in here that they are to cooperate. There's no Miranda. There's no telling us to beat it. None of that. So all this hoopla it's all a bunch of lies. They know the rules. They know the regulations. I wasn't there that night, but I read a report. I have no issues with these two gentlemen. We've got along fine. We've cooperated over the last 6 or 8 months. But what's in front of us tonight is outrageous. And it needs to be dealt with, and it can't be tolerated.
For the record, I just want to say, and I've said this before with similar violations, your fellow business owners in the city of Lawrence, just so you know, are complaining about hookah being used in some establishments and people getting away with it, and it's hurting their business. So what you're doing is not only a long-term effect on your health, an issue that the Board of Health has, it's not only an imminent danger that the fire department has, but it's really an unfair business practice too. So I want to throw that out there. When you do these practices, you're putting lives at risk, long-term and short-term, and you're really affecting unfairly your fellow business owners. And if somebody doesn't stop, and everybody keeps doing it and plays the game, it's just going to make matters worse.
Thank you.
If I may add one last thing.
Absolutely.
Is that when we issue a fine for a smoking violation for having hookahs present, it's not just, hey, this is an administrative problem that you have to deal with by paying a fine. Is this more than an invitation for you to be in compliance? They're taking this, it sounds like, as if, well, this is cost of business. We can pay the fine, that's what we thought was going to happen, but they have to pay a fine, but that's it. Well, the state law does say that if they continue to be in violation of these regulations, the state law, the Board of Health has the power to actually revoke their license to operate. So this is a big deal. So in my understanding, in most cities, if you violate any rules of the city, you also by default violating the rules of your licensing commission by default. So they admitted here they're doing this deliberately. They know it's illegal, they know it's wrong, but they continue to do it. So I agree with Lieutenant Cerullo, this isn't acceptable.
Thank you.
This is, thanks.
Active briquettes, areas where they were burning, and then you have the manager, not once, not twice, not 3 times, saying, it's your job, go find it. That's what we did, and we did allow them, after, we probably investigated for an hour. We had several trucks come over, and we went from the bottom floor all the way to the roof, and we did a thorough search to make sure that there was the danger had passed, and that everything was all set before we left that premises. If his actions were a little bit different, and he was a little more cooperative, we would not have emptied that club. With all that was going on, we really had no choice for public safety but to close it and continue our investigation.
Thank you, Council. Do you have any questions?
No, I think, I've heard everything, I agree with what everyone has said, and I do believe, hearing you speak, that you seem to have a belief that everybody's doing it, and we know it's illegal, when we pay a ticket. And I think we have to send a strong message, that's not how it works. It's totally unacceptable.
Okay. Are there any other recommendations from, he walked away. Any recommendations from the fire department or the police department at this point?
The fire department's recommendation would be close this business for the time of 1 year.
see the penalty for use of hookah, which there wasn't there? The penalty is $100 fine.
For
For a
That-
first offense.
a first offense.
Second offense?
For a first offense.
Second offense,
What is it for a second offense?
These
It's
are
$200. $200.
$200 fine. We'll accept that.
Okay, that's, we haven't said anything that we're, I mean, that's a fine that you have to pay, that's
Just
not,
my
that's neither here nor there on this section.
Just by way of information.
Understood.
But I don't think we're necessarily just saying that, oh, you violated a hookah requirement. This board is looking at the entire events of that evening.
Great, we'll watch what you do to the next people that are coming forward with hookah violations.
It's not just a
Absolutely, you
hookah
are
violation.
welcome to sit here
Oh, I will.
and stay while we deal with the other
I will.
one, two, the other three that come.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So, and for us to come here and say that we was doing the hook illegally,
Mhm.
this is why he asking 1 year, because we admit that we're doing it.
No, the
Yes,
recommendation from the
Yeah,
fire
because
department
my
is
question-
for the incident overall.
Okay, my question was, he say, they closed the business before talking to me. So he said he was checking the business and then talking to me and then shut it down. I mean, he went straight, shut down the business, and then was talking to me, and they trying to say that I was cooperating. I have a question. Why they, because they was asking for the charcoal, and they told me they wasn't go anyway if I don't show the charcoal. So we show the charcoal, that means that we show them what they want to see it. So my point is, this is a lot of people, this business, giving food to this family. And just, we sit down here asking for 1 year, because
That's just a recommendation. That's not,
The second-
we have not
the
said that that's
second
what's gonna happen.
because he
It's a
say,
second violation.
he says the second violation, but this is the first violation because, I don't know if you are aware, before, it wasn't no law for hookah. So anybody around here know it's illegal or no legal, or it was illegal. So they send out a letters and every club, that's count for a first one. After that, we never had an issue.
Madam Chair,
So,
can I just
my understanding, yes, we understand that we was doing it something, but we can learn from mistake. And like, when we meet first, like years ago, it was a mess, and we sit down, and what happened after that? Do you went to the business?
No, you've done a good job.
So, I just asking to be careful because it's a lot of family eating for that business, and we have a lot of money invest in that business, and I think we need, if we sit down and talk and I don't know how we're gonna do about it. Yes, I mean,
Madam Chair, I think there's some confusion though over here. We're not here for so much the cookies. That's one of the issues. I mean, if they're on their premises that we're just going after them for cookies, that's not the case. The picture is here is the safety issue.
It's a safety, it's public safety.
That's the safety. It's not the hookahs. The hookahs are illegal in and of itself. We understand that. But what the fire department is concerned about, and I don't want to put words in Captain Lane's mouth, it's about the disposal of what is going on there. It has nothing really to do with the hookahs. Yes, they're illegal. You're gonna get a fine for that. But it's the way that these are being disposed of that is the safety concern. It has nothing to do, we're not trying to close them down for having hookahs. They're disposing of charcoals all over the place. That's
so
the,
from now
that's
on.
the
They're only charged with one allegation of performing or allowing an illegality, and that's the hookahs. They're not charged with anything else. They're not charged with anything else.
I agree, I know.
They dropped
I'm
the,
asking,
they dropped the
no
picture.
recommendations, all right? They're recommendations.
Okay, I
They're
know,
not,
I
we
know.
have not made any decisions
It's
whatsoever.
bizarre, but.
But I will say that public safety is an issue.
Public safety is
Because
an issue
of-
everywhere.
Okay.
That's.
Attorney
that's-
Kelly,
Okay,
please let me finish.
I will. I'm
And I
sorry.
will allow you to talk after I'm done.
No, I think I'm.
There's a public safety issue here when it comes to charcoals being left on a roof that are still burning, or charcoals being found on stairs. There's an issue there. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that the hookahs are illegal and that this is a second offense. And I'm hearing that there are families tied to your business and that people work, and this is how they pay their bills, and this is, I'm hearing all three sides of this story.
Yes. The
What I
issue-
want you to understand
Yeah.
is that we have not made any decision.
No,
We haven't made any recommendations,
and I.
but there will be.
Yeah, I understand that. My thing is, my point was, when I point the hookah, it was, overpowering, let's put it like that. When we sit down with Mr. Cirillo, and back in the day, we just changed it because it was new on the business. So that can happen right now, okay? The fire department show us, okay, don't do this, don't do that. We stand from mistake. And we hear, because I can be here and say, oh no, we didn't have hookah, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. No, we admit it. And we wanna work with the city of Lawrence, we wanna work for the fire department, for the police of Lawrence. But I think we deserve like treat a little bit more concern.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
One of the things that we're a little bit overlooking, we have the video. And the video, we have some still pictures, but if anybody wants to
This is
see
part
it,
of this, yeah.
show you the video.
Part of
And
the-
there's a couple
okay.
points, if you look through those pictures, there's employees on a wet roof with trash bags up on a fourth-story roof, not more than 3 feet from the edge. One slip, one fall, one shift of the weight of those heavy bags of hookahs, somebody could fall to their demise.
What's wrong with going on the roof of the building you own? Give me a break.
When you're going on the
3
building,
feet of the edge.
when you're going on the building that
If
you
they,
own,
they can go anywhere they want, they own the building.
Okay. This is where we're at. Ms. Darwin, do you have you considered what a motion would look like? I do understand you're 1 year. I understand that. But I also understand the fact that as a first violation of this type, that might be severe. It might not.
I give you my word. I give you my word like I give you my word to Mr. Cirillo 9 months ago that we're gonna learn from our mistake. Because from us, it's a lot of family to depend. We got 40 employees. 40 employees.
Okay.
So when we have invested a lot of money, we're trying to do the transfer, and he knows that we are running a good business. This is a big mistake, and we understood. We're not asking to just break the law. We're just asking to be fair with us, because this is the first time that happened. And they've been on the business before, and they know. This is the one issue that maybe was misunderstood at the day because the frustration at they closed the business before talking to me. And I don't know if you're somebody running a business and the next day you need to pay mortgage, you need to pay 40 employees, and everybody just walk off without paying the tab. You as a human being, you have a type of response. But I never disrespect them. Never. I never disrespect him. And I would never disrespect any, the fire department and the Lawrence Police Department. Even the Lawrence Police Department, they know me for a long time because I always work for the community. I worked for the radio station, Power 100, for 10 years, and I would work for everybody around here. We just asking to be fair with us because it's a lot of people depend from that business.
Okay.
And thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all, did a good job.
Very good job.
sides, very concerned with all of them. Personally, my number one issue is the public safety, the potential for a fire, and the loss of life, which would impact families much more than losing a paycheck or not making enough money to pay the mortgage. So my motion would be to lean towards shutting them down, not for a year, for a shorter period of time, and then maybe rolling back hours with a significant period of probation. And if there is any other further problems of this type, because this, and I'm not sure that you totally understand, and maybe you do, the potential of the risk with those burning embers in that building. Thankfully, nothing happened, you're right, nothing happened, and it was a mistake, and you'll learn, but I just think that far outweighs any of the other concerns. And as to the targeting, I mean, the fire department went there with the kitchen, as Attorney Kelly said, and left telling you, sure, you can cover this one thing. They had no intention of desire to go in and target you or shut down. You know, someone made a phone call, and that's how they ended up back there. But I'm grateful that they were back, that they found all the burning embers and nobody was hurt. But I do think it's significant enough that it warrants that type of decision. I'm not sure what y'all think, but
The Lawrence Fire Department has been working on a nightclub safety program. Any penalty that we would like to see attached to them would be either their managers or whoever we work it out, they attend this nightclub safety program that is sponsored by the fire department, possibly the police department, to show the dangers and to, you know, we believe that education is prevention, so we're developing this program. It should be all set by the end of the summer. Any penalty, we'd like to see when we get this program up and running, that the managers, whoever we decide that has to take this program, that they, you know, get this education to see what the possibilities are and, you know, the way things should go.
Thank you, Councilman. Well, having heard all parties and understanding that there hasn't been a clear process previously on what this board does in terms of offenses, and there will be one set. We are working on something that hopefully there will be clarity for everyone in terms of first offense, second offense, and here we go forward. That being said, I make a motion to suspend the license of California nightclub DBA Attica for 45 days beginning June 21st with a 6-month probationary period after the fact. And then we will have a conversation then. But it's a 45-day suspension beginning this week.
Beginning on Friday?
Beginning on Friday. That is my motion.
May I approach? There are two functions that the entity has committed to that occur between on June 22nd and June 29th. I would respectfully request that you consider allowing the suspension to take place effective July 1st, to allow them to commit to the parties that have paid money and committed to their use of the facility.
Thank you.
Engaged with those a long time before. So
That's what they have.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
we have approved there.
It would-
June 22nd and June 29th.
It's on the third floor, it's in the house, nothing to be on the
So,
first.
I will amend my motion to July 1. If there is any incident prior to, we will have a different conversation.
I will give you my word.
We only have a week.
You're gonna listen.
I know, it's only a week out, it's very close, I get it. We're almost done with the month of June.
Listen, we will give you a word. a CLC
45 days.
for that matters.
Okay, 45 days, beginning July 1,
Thank you.
followed by a 6-month probationary period.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And the second item,
Can we allow that to go forward?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
second, all in favor, aye, ayes have the suspension, the motion to suspend. The next,
Change of the.
so the change of manager, and it seems like you have been the manager.
Anyway.
They love to go there.
Thank you.
So, I'll make a motion that we approve that piece of it.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, thank you, Commissioner.
All in favor? Ayes have it.
I'm in favor. Okay, all right.
Oh,
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Kelly.
I'm sorry for misunderstanding back then. Sorry, sir. Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay.
That's bad.
Sam's, 384 Broadway.
Sorry, one more minute.
Are you there? Okay.
Here he is. I promise to be shorter than anyone here.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
My pleasure.
My friend.
I know we've known each other for 1,000 years.
Many, many years.
This gentleman here is part of J Foods. And he tells me he leased the store in 2012. At the time he leased it, it was over 24 hours. And then sometime last year, in talking to Lieutenant Cerullo, because of the amount of visits to 389 Broadway, that the store hours were changed from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. I would note to you that everything from the police reports say 389 Broadway, while on your agenda is 384. So my question, rhetorical, okay, is whether or not everything from 389 has to do with the changing of the hours. He's seeking to go back to 24/7. I would point out that the list of occurrences at 389 have nothing to do with the interior of the store. They're all exterior, and they're being blamed upon this little store, saying that building checks, motor vehicle stops, towing, etc., with all of these pages somehow affected. Now, I noticed that your board has a lot of heart. I was impressed with the last hearing. So I am suggesting strongly that even if we got these store hours similar to Big Beefy, which goes to 2 a.m. Monday through, I think, Thursday, and on weekends it's to 4 a.m., we'd be grateful for that. And I hope to finish this all in less than 3 weeks. Well, I mean, it was a long hearing.
Yeah, that was a very long hearing. Okay. Lieutenant Cirillo.
Quiet.
I'm good, how are you?
So if you look at the call log, it's kind of self-explanatory. I understand that there are some things where there's extra surveillance, there's extra checks in there. But the majority of calls for service at this location prior to the rollback hours, you can look at shots fired, you can look at trespassing, you can look at disturbances. On average, in a month's time, we're there between 10, sometimes 20 times. And you can see that it goes pages and pages with disorderly disturbances. If I bring you to the attention of the front, you can see once the reduction of hours took place, you can see how the call volume at this location, that are known as Sam's, is reduced to maybe 25 calls. And you can see out of those 25 calls, there may be 1 or 2 disturbances
place there, but there's no dangerous incidents as far as shots fired, fights,
Right.
and so on. So I believe any increase in the hours will be right back where we were prior to that in 2019. So it's the recommendation of the police department to stay the course, 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. I talked with the attorney today. He suggested maybe we could go up it till 12 o'clock.
Well, I'd like to go to 2. Having talked to
we-
my client, but I didn't see any gunshots in there.
Not recently.
I didn't,
No,
no, I
not
didn't see
recently.
Not
anything.
recently.
There was a murder there back in, I believe, 1/7 of 2018. You see a shots fired call. I also think that was part and parcel with a murder. In 2018, you have another shots fired call.
Again, that was all exterior.
Correct, all in their parking lot. Yep.
Well, I'm wondering whether or not 389 Broadway is one of the same as 384 Broadway.
Yeah, it's all one and the same.
Well, it's not what it says here. It's not what the bachelor's license says. So I'd like to negotiate with you, give us big and beefy hours. Will that keep everybody happy? You're such a ridiculous. No?
5 a.m. to 11 p.m. is what the Lawrence Police Department is suggesting. It's worked. Violence is down, calls for service are down. The neighborhood is a better place as far as quality of life.
I'm suggesting beef and beefy hours to 2 a.m. Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday, 4 a.m. Friday through Sunday.
And currently it's 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week.
Correct.
Okay.
And that happened last year. Unbeknownst to my client, how it happened, except for your sheet.
Well, they were here and they put up a case. I don't know who their attorney was, Attorney Kelly.
I think Attorney Kelly was.
Yeah, he was there. He was there. He represented.
Well, I
Wasn't successful. Much note.
Well, in all due respect to you, Lieutenant, and I do respect.
No, I don't take anything personal.
Good, I'm glad. And not only that, I think that the board is basing it on 389, yet the bachelor's license is 384. So I think a good compromise would be 2 a.m. and be done with it. How about that suggestion?
Did anything else change, when the hours were rolled back? So basically, we can say.
Calls for service dropped. like-
Yeah, calls for service. and-
Nothing else would have impacted the call, nothing else changed in that law.
No, not that. Just the hours. So again, my recommendation is to stay the course. It's working.
Yep.
And that's,
My suggestion is if you stay the course, it's an undue hardship. It might leave the area, which I don't think you should do. There are other stores there that are open 24 hours, as you know, right? Yet it's right within the same block.
again, we don't have the call volume that was,
What else is open 24 in that area?
there is another store, 24, that's
What's the-
24-hour store that's in the plaza. where
E-Market?
Caesar's is.
E-Market.
Where the plaza is,
E-Market.
okay.
Easy.
Okay,
And then, Big and Beefy still
Yeah.
hasn't changed their hours
yeah.
that they've had all day.
They went to 2 a.m. and also on weekends to 4. But I want to make sure we all understand he doesn't sell hookahs, he doesn't get involved in all this. So it's causing
That's
them.
hard to approve that.
Well, yeah, what am I going to do? They're here all night.
It looks that way.
But we didn't get a call from the fire department,
No calls from fire.
and I appreciate everything the lieutenant has done. So give him a little break, for God's sakes.
You have a motion?
Sure. Give us big and beefy.
And big and beefy is what again?
Till 2,
Till 2 a.m.
and then 4 on the weekends.
Yeah. How about 1? Can you do 1?
Well, he wants 11. You originally wanted 2.
That's true.
And she's saying midnight. I think that's a good compromise between the two.
Oh, 1 o'clock is in between.
So your
I'm
motion
trying.
is
My
to
vote- my
5 to
motion-
12.
My motion is
5 to
5 AM till midnight, 7.
Second, all in favor? Ayes have
See
it.
how efficient you are?
You get an hour, you get one more hour. And if we can continue the course, then you never know. Come
We
back
also
tomorrow.
talked about a 6-month period of review.
Sure. I love that. So we put that on, that we, if there's any problems there, we'll go back to 11
We
o'clock.
can amend that.
No, we.
yes.
I think you ought to run for mayor. I keep saying the city got killed because of the Vietnam War.
All right, so let's stay there and,
I'm gonna shut
we'll do 6-month review. Can we add that please to do
Now,
6
the
month?
6-month review could go up or down.
Have that conversation in 6 months.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, Don. Pat and I go way back.
All right, Cecilia Berroa and Eddie Abed. Cecilia? All right, so we've had 2 criminal complaints from the state police, 3 continuances. Appeared at Haverhill District Court, again to personal or cognizance and given a pretrial date of July 12, 2019 in Haverhill. This matter has been pending since early March 2019. And there's a companion to this matter, Eddie Abed, owner of the building. Mr. Abed has filed an eviction against RC Auto. And there's been complaints about the condition which have been referred to the building inspector.
That's been resolved.
That's been resolved,
Yes,
so there's
and
no
it's
pending
not-
eviction?
No, and Mr. Rivette, as far as I know, is back in Florida.
Okay. So the eviction is not pending any longer?
Have they resolved it?
Yeah, we are.
They've resolved it.
They're here.
Alright, do you have any updates from the state police on this one?
I do not, I haven't spoken to them, I don't know where the case is at
The
this
state
stage.
police, yes, it's in your package, but the complaints are, there's 2 criminal complaints, they're in the package.
Okay.
And there's a remark also, I think I included from Haverhill District Court. I scanned it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just remembered that.
You may not all have it, but it has been scanned to everybody. I know that she does. If you want me to, I'll go down to the office and.
No, I have it here. I just wanted to see which one it is.
It's the cover sheet from
Yep.
Haverhill District. The second page is the complaints of the state police.
Alright, so it's the same matter pending in Haverhill District Court since March. 2 criminal complaints by the Mass State Police. There have been 3 continuances, which I just said. Alright, so Haverhill District Court, false title and false statement in application for an MV. So at this point, we have not gotten any, we've been continuing this for quite some time now. So you want to take a look?
Where is the case now? What's going on with the case in the criminal matter?
Haverhill District Court.
Yeah, but
It's scheduled for a pre-trial hearing on the 12th. If I might say, we are assuming here we are the presumption of innocence until it's proven proven guilty by judge or by a jury trial. I mean, this is a process that is going through a court, and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and we like respectfully to ask your panel to leave this matter on the table until the case go through the normal process in court and a decision is made by the judge or by a jury trial. In the meantime, we
So
presume to be
you're
innocent.
so what you're asking for is for us to continue the matter, you continue using the license until the
Yeah,
matter is
correct.
resolved in court?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, we are still doing the same business, applying for title. We have any problem with the registry of motor vehicle, we're selling car, buying car, doing all the process. The same thing that the state police are doing the allegation, and everything is going through fine. Like, we didn't stop doing business. That's the reason why we ask you if it is possible to just leave the matter open until the court takes place.
Okay. All right, so I make a motion that we table this matter until the July 19th. I mean, it's the only fair thing. All in favor? Ayes have
I'll
it.
make an effort to try to get hold of the Cooper and see if we can get him to get
That would be great.
some clarification.
That would be great. If he could come in for the July 19th meeting, that would be awesome. 17th, July 17th. Okay, so you are continuing until next month's meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Louis Caceres of Trinity Heating and Air. You want to call Louis? Is he still here? All right, so you've got all of your paperwork in order. You have your bond, fingerprints, and the PD.
You need to check in at the police department, you know all that?
Yeah, I haven't done the fingerprints, we just.
Okay, so you need to do all that before you do anything. You have to check in and tell them what areas you're working, you have a badge.
Every day?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion to approve pending fingerprints, and also making sure that you're checking in with the PD daily, as you're canvassing.
Second?
All in favor? Ayes have it. Make sure you get those fingerprints done.
Very good, thank you so much.
Fingerprints and,
I'll check, and then you can have the license.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, this is the one that we just did a motion, we did a motion to accept, because there was a typo. All right.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, members of the Commission. My name is Robert Kelly. I represent the applicant Vaca LLC. First of all, I express my gratitude for allowing the motion to amend the advertisement so as to not include the extra consonant of L, although the application was properly filed before the Massachusetts, the Commonwealth and the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, as well as your office. There was a scrivener's error that called the LLC VALCA. I would suggest that we've screened the constituents here tonight. There's no one here to speak on the issue, either for or against. I represent Angel Polanco here to my right, and lovely Alexis Cepeda. They've been working very hard at 337 Essex Street to put in a different type of restaurant. It's actually, I was surprised myself because they call it Dominican Sushi, and they've spent a lot of money to refurbish the premises. However, the previous special permit and variance that was acquired by the previous license holder expired when he curtailed the business. So we had to go before the Florence Zoning Board. We received a favorable opinion, which I've sent you a copy of, to grant the variance and the special permit to allow the all-alcohol restaurant to exist on the first floor of 337 Essex Street. And we're asking for your permission to provide alcohol services under an all-alcohol restaurant family-type restaurant at those premises.
Remind me where 330.
The Loft and Ladle.
Okay. Yeah, the Loft and Ladle, yeah, that's all I had to say. I remember that one. All right. Gentlemen. Good?
You gotta say something, Lieutenant.
He's expecting you to say something.
Well, the gifts, no, that's
The hours, remind me of the hours that you're asking for?
the regular, all alcohol hours that were allowed.
And we are good with that?
There's not a lot going on that street during those regular hours.
Yeah.
In fact, that's noted in the zoning board decision.
And their statement of facts. All right, so I will make a motion to approve. All in favor? Ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
See what happens with you.
Good, everyone's got some. Hi there. All papers are in order. New license fully signed and executed. Second, all in favor? Ayes have it. Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Angel Sanchez. Want to go out and get Angel Sanchez? Some things in front of us. So Angel Delicioso Restaurant at 222 Broadway wants to change and transfer the common vic license to 91B Common Street. And then Grandy's Restaurant at 61 Essex Street wants to change the common vic license to 222 Broadway. And then Grumpy's requests the hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
No, from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Okay. 11 a.m. to, the one changed to 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. for 7 days. Okay. I think I understand that. Lieutenant?
So, last year, around this time, we didn't reduce 91 Common Street. They were operating outside their license from 11 a.m. till whenever, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Brought them before the board, rectified the license, which was issued from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. As far as the establishment at 61 Essex Street, we did not change their hours. The hours that they were permitted was the hours that you see in front of you, Friday, Saturday, Sunday till 3 a.m. Those hours were never reduced.
Okay.
They will remain the same. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I would have a problem if we transferred those hours to 222 Broadway. I think that those hours are issued to this establishment where they are. We're fine with those hours. There's no issues at that establishment with those hours at this time. I mean, he's more than willing, I guess, to open a business at 222, but I would, seek the hours to be 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., consistent with what we've been doing along those lines on a regular basis. We're definitely against increasing the hours to 1 a.m. or later at 91 Common Street. We've got past incidents where, same thing, where we've seen the call volume, the amount of fights, the amount of incidents.
We haven't had any fights, we discussed that before. We argued,
Okay,
you didn't show me.
Can you let him finish and then I'll let you speak, okay?
Perfect.
When they were operating outside their guidelines, you can see the call volume increased at this location, which drew our attention. There was fights, there was disturbances,
That's a lot.
there was.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down, but
Mr. Sanchez, I would ask that you refrain until it is time for you to speak, please. Please let the lieutenant finish and I will give you your opportunity to speak.
So, again, you can see the spike in 17, you can see a spike in 16, a check, but you can see any violent incidents are gone from the equation.
Okay.
So it would be our recommendation to keep his hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. in that area, along the lines of every other business that is open. And again, 222 Essex Street, Broadway, the new common vic license. We have no problem with him opening up a place there, but we'd like to be consistent with the hours.
The 11:11,
For 11. And he's welcome to stay open with his license currently at 61 Essex Street, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday till 3 a.m. There's been no incidents there. That's the license that was issued, and
Okay.
we'll be good with it.
Ms. Sanchez?
Hello, what's your name?
Leslie.
Leslie. I come before this board after a year, we first get a review on those hours. First of all, you could see the record on the Baltimore Post, but none of them resulted in an incident inside our place. And we do know that we're in a high volume area due to the clubs that were around, which two of them are already closed, which is Macarena and Central that opens every now and then. When we created that business, we investigated an extensive amount of money into window. And as a result of these decisions that they already took, our sales dropped from $25,000 a week to 11. I try to keep the same amount of people working. I try to, keep it up. We have spent already a year with that. More incidents, more issues, more problems. I'm just requesting you guys to give me the opportunity to try again and see if I can recuperate my license and recuperate my clients. I know that some of you do not know how hard it is to open up a business. I've been in the area of Lawrence for 14, 16 years. I previously owned a business in Broadway and Essex Street, Grandes Chili's. Operate there for 7 years, never had an issue. Grande Sandwich, 61 Essex. We've been there for 7 years, 6 years. Never had an issue. Those incidents over there were part of people outside, coming from outside the club. Since the moment that I opened up, I had a security guard, which he knows. At that time, Sergeant Sigurd was a sergeant. He's a lieutenant now. I always focus into safety and maintaining the level of security into my businesses. They have calls because we have incidents where people got choked, and what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to call 911 and get people, and get assistance to drunk people. Mind you, we don't sell alcohol, but we have to assist anybody that gets sick or come out drunk from the clubs, and they sit on our tables to have some food at that time. In regards to the movement that I'm doing right now is because of the economic situation. I'm operating 3 businesses and I'm trying to combine them and at least release myself from one rent, which is, $3,500, $3,700 that I'm spending a month. And since I already have that location on 222 Broadway, and I'm moving it over here because the clientele or the market that I created that business for is not attending Broadway due to the fact that it's too crowded during the day. I'm moving into Common Street, which is a little bit more free of space, free to park. The property that I have is owned by Tripolis, by Chitalia, and they allow me my customer to park in the parking lot, which is big, and they can come in. Mind you, that the set hours that I have at Delicioso is until 12.
Yeah, 10 to
at
9.
night, till midnight. Grumpy's is set until 11, but they door to door. They close to close. They even it's a combined business that will allow me to reduce my operating costs, and it will actually work better due to my clientele. Now, at 61 Essex Street, which I'm spending, as I said before, like $37,000, $40,000, $4,800 a month in rent. If I move it to 222 Broadway with the same schedule that we have pre-existing already, it would allow me to actually compete and escape in business.
So you don't want to stay at 61 221 Essex Street anymore with
No, I wanna move
those
it,
hours?
'cause-
You wanna move those hours to Broadway?
yes.
We already,
And we don't have no issues on Broadway. I think that I deserve the chance and the benefit of the doubt due to the fact that they know I've been in business for so many years in the city. I mean, I'm involved into the community. I help a lot, which I haven't been able to do due to the fact that I'm not perceiving the amount of money that I used to do before. But when it comes to being involved into the everything, the book fair, the theater fair, helping the church, getting involved into everything that the community requests or need from me as a business manager, or my sister, which is the owner of the businesses, we always involve.
so you wanna move Delicioso to 91?
Yep.
Gran Lista Delicioso, and expand your hours at Grumpy's. That's what I'm understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
Mine-
Where is it on 222? What area, what part of Broadway is that?
It's right in front of the plaza, where they have a Crown Chicken already open to 2 o'clock in the morning. They do have also La Tombora already open to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
So
so it's that plaza.
It's more, I think that it's not creating any change into the environment of businesses
That's
of that
already-
area with the same hours that I'm gonna be operating.
Well, they're open till 2 or 3.
Right now on Essex Street, he's open till 3.
Where he's going, 222 Broadway, there's other
Businesses open
open
till 2 or 3,
till
yes.
2.
Till 2? The other businesses in that area are open till 2? Till 2.
Some.
Mind you, excuse me, according to Massachusetts law, businesses that are not selling any alcoholic beverage are willing to stay open as long as they have businesses. I understand that the city is going through a process which has changed considerably during the last 2-3 years, but I'm not selling alcohol, I'm not selling weed, I'm only selling food. You know what I mean? And I can compete. Two years ago, when I came and talked to about who was the developer into the business area of the city, and I told him about my concern in regards to the bodegas or shops selling food during the day, which right now 90% of them do sell food, killing the restaurant business. Right now we have another issue that is at nighttime, that is people selling food from their home. These people, they don't have, yes, I can show you. They don't have CERSE, they don't have an allergen certification, they don't pay taxes, they're not in compliance with anything, they don't have commercial kitchen, and they're taking out my business too. So I'm not able to make money during the day due to the bodegas, and I'm not able to make during the morning due to the rules that you guys are applying to me, and due to people selling food with no previous certification or knowledge of food safety.
Okay. So here's my motion. Complicated one. So for the first one, moving the 222 Broadway, the license for 222 Broadway to 91 Common Street. I make a motion to approve, but that because we have we're sticking to our standard hours, it's an 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Open to close. That's my motion for the first one. All in favor? Ayes have it. The next one. I'm gonna make a motion for Grumpy's first, and that is that we continue the hours the way they are. We,
Continue the hours at which address, 61?
91A, Grumpy's G Restaurant,
Just remains.
it remains the same.
11 to 11.
That is my motion, that it stays the same.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Kick myself in the ass for this one, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna make a motion to approve moving the 61 Essex Street license to 222 Broadway. And then the hours are the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, till 2 a.m., not 3 a.m.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay? So, there you go. And Pat can give you all of the details if you wanna come see her repairs and fees paid. It's the former Yokohama, and has been closed for approximately 2 years. We're waiting for LFD report on cooking equipment.
The fire department hasn't had any connection,
Alright,
have
so
you approached the fire department for inspection?
Que si tú tienes la impresión del departamento de bomberos.
Me dieron la fecha para...
How about that, they
they've
give the
given him a
date.
date. They've given him a date for the
They give
inspection.
it the
They
date.
had a date, okay. I'll hold the license until the fire department has that.
And does he know what that date is?
¿Tú sabes qué día es?
El miércoles.
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
If it would help him, if he needs it early, we will assist him and we could do it. If he comes to the department tomorrow, we could find an earlier time, if it helps him out.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve pending a successful report from the fire department.
All set?
Okay.
Sorry, second. All in favor? Ayes have it. Make sure that he can go to the fire department tomorrow, and they will help him get the inspection done soon.
All right.
Okay? And then he'll get his license. So his license has been approved, but he still needs to get that.
Ya, all right, que la licencia te fue aprobada, pero tienes que ir mañana a los bomberos. Tan pronto tú consigas el certificado de los bomberos, he needs to come back here.
He comes to have
Tan pronto tú consigas el certificado de los bomberos, va al departamento de ella. What was the department? What was the license? All right. Tú vas a ir a la cuestión del license and de licencia. Está aprobado.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I put a flip on sandwiches. Is the next one? Oh, we get to those three, we're gonna be here for a while. All right, three flip on sandwiches, 530 Broadway, papers are all in order, fees paid, hours 8 to 5, 7 days a week. Papers are in order, application fee paid.
Motion to approve.
You're good, you good? All right, I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fusion Cuisine.
Mañana paso por allá. Sí, para que me... Mañana.
Yeah, I know. It's a big day for the budget. There must be like no parking room. Matias, DBA Fusion Cuisine, 203 South Union Street. All your papers are in order, inspectional services, 7 days a week, 7 to 9, awaiting the fire department report.
That was there, they was there.
So you're all set.
We were there today, I think we just need a Knox box in front of you.
Yeah, they said that I have to, fill in some kind of, papers, and then they gonna put them,
Okay.
but they will fine.
The instructional services report is available.
I believe they were there together today, the fire
Okay.
department.
And
I'm not
inspection
positive,
services.
yes, I
All
can't
right.
speak for them.
David
Okay.
Wood.
David Wilson, okay. So I make a motion to approve, pending all the requirements are, successful with the fire department?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Come tomorrow and.
All right, thank you, Pat. Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you, have a good night. All right.
Yeah, the next one is.
Maria Thomas. TBA Las Palmas.
I know it.
You gotta be a little louder, Bob, come on.
Fire department has a couple extra photos, copies, if I can submit these.
Sure. You wanna hand those back to the attorney, for the record? Just to have them back. That's for Bob, that's for your, yeah, that's for your attorney. Delaney, Lieutenant Cirillo, who would like to go first?
Captain, I don't have anything to
You
follow.
do? All right, Captain Delaney.
Okay, let's see, where to start here. This, 445 Essex Street, beautiful place, did a nice job with it. I was the one who gave you the license, and on that day, we had a conversation about how hookahs were not allowed. I stated that the fire department had particular concern with the charcoal that we considered an extreme fire danger, and they assured us that they did not use charcoal hookahs. The Lawrence Fire Department quickly became to know the address of 445, 447 Essex Street. We went there multiple times. On 3/8, there was the fourth time, I believe, in 4 nights, and they always attributed to a detector in the back of the residence above the fire alarm panel. I believe on the fourth night, they stated that they were using a smoke machine, which is not allowed. So they were told on 3/8 that, okay, you're not to allow the use of the smoke machine, it's prohibited, stop from using it. They still, on 3/10, it was still in use. They still were using a smoke machine. There's also, on one night, there was charcoal hookahs present being used in the establishment. If you turn to your photos, the first picture of that is the picture that, they heat the charcoal up, that's upstairs. And then there's other just photos of things around. Let's see. And actually, it's interested on the night in question of the charcoal hookahs. I'm not sure, some people rent the hookahs, some people own the hookahs. I believe they may have had an outside vendor with the hookahs, and when that outside vendor tried to put everything in the alley into their truck, the investigators, I was not out that night, and they walked around and they smelled a burning sensation, and in the back of the van, they put all the charcoal in this pail or Tupperware thing, which actually started to burn. And the inspectors, they think they got some water from somewhere, and they were able to put it out. So that was just the use of charcoal hookahs. In their opinion, there probably would have been a car fire, or there possibly, it goes to show the danger of, these charcoal briquettes heating up, especially all together. The other thing that I just passed out the photos is of interest is, if you look on the first page in the bottom left, that is the second floor. So in this establishment, they have the first floor, which is the club, the second floor, which they were still under renovation a little bit. And one night we were called there because an activation of a smoke alarm, and we actually found somebody, I don't know, that did have permission, didn't have permission, and one of the workers, they were actually staying. Some of the detectors were covered, their clothes were wet, they had an electric heater, and they put their socks on to dry them out. And you can see in one of the photos, the burnt socks. As we investigated that, there's many rooms upstairs, and in one of the rooms, there's storage of alcohol. Now, I believe on the license, the storage of alcohol is not allowed upstairs. And when we did a couple inspections, which we were helpful to help you open up that night, we came back 4 or 5 times to assist her to get everything right to open up. We had a conversation about what the second floor was going to be used for. And I didn't think there was too much space downstairs. I said, you're going to be storing liquor upstairs, because if you are, it has to be on your license. We were assured that it wasn't going to be storage of alcohol. 2 or 3 weeks later, we discovered that there is storage of alcohol on the second floor. We would like to see that second floor put on the liquor license as part of the whole club, if they're gonna store liquor up there, as they did. And that's,
They can't block that electrical panel either.
I believe that was cleared up that night. They had a couple issues with some stuff. I mean, they were very compliant. They did, as they were ordered, they cleaned stuff up, and they were compliant in that way.
I say something real quick? You finish?
Yeah.
That's alcohol, is not storage of alcohol, those are empty bottles of the beers. We don't store any alcohol, it empties, if you could see. And the gentleman that went there, he could verify that. They never found alcohol upstairs, and they've gone a few times for different reasons, and there's always been empty bottles. And I told them after that, I was gonna move them downstairs, because I didn't know you could store empties, because alcohol for me is something that's full, and empties is not. But I told them that I was gonna store them downstairs, to just have the company come more often, to take them away. Because I don't wanna mix one thing with the next.
Sure.
So,
And I'm not
Thank
sure if that's allowed to store empties up there.
I spoke to the gentleman, the last time, the fireman, and he mentioned that it's okay, so I'm gonna just bring it down,
Downstairs.
and we're not gonna store the empties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, on the inspection conducted by the fire department on May 11th, they found people smoking the hookah, who was present. So they were fined $100 for having the hookahs present, $100 for smoking. That's still, those stickers are still outstanding.
No, we paid them.
Never paid.
When will they pay?
Right there, in the same, right in the fire department, they,
Oh, this is not a fire department fine, this is
These,
a, yes.
these are what you're referring to, right? These are the two city ordinance violations? That's what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
I don't understand, there's some more to this?
I stand corrected.
No,
Those are
he
paid.
looked at them, yeah.
They
Are they
pay
paid?
from our fire department, is that the appropriate place?
Well, the inspection services.
Where, you paid at the Lawrence Fire Department?
Yeah, they said I paid them.
You have a receipt?
I do.
Who provided the
I
receipt?
have a
No
receipt.
problem. Okay, Attorney Relations, I'll hear from you now.
Right, thank you. May I sit, well, I
Absolutely.
address who have a bad back, I have difficulty standing.
You stay right where you are, sir.
Maria
I
Thomas,
stand right where.
Maria Thomas has had this restaurant for about 11 years, and she's never had a problem with the police, to my knowledge. Most recently, she went through a rather substantial renovation where she expanded, and I don't know whether she in fact still has, have you got the certificate of occupancy for the second floor now?
Yes, ma'am, okay. Just started just last week, we started.
We just got it last week, the second floor certificate of occupancy. Now, from the photographs, you can see that they were still under renovations when the fire department was there. And the fire department has a laundry list of about 4 or 5 times that they were there. And nowhere in these reports, except for one, May 21st, 2019, do they attribute any of the issues to the use of any hookers. In fact,
Those are hookers.
Mr. Kelly, when you were addressing the board,
I know, but
I didn't say a word.
I didn't want you to
I didn't bring up
misrepresent.
any levity, Mr. Kelly, and I would expect you to be more professional than that.
I
I've known you
agree.
a long time, you're a good guy, but this is not a joke. In any event, all of those calls were attributed to the problem she was having with her smoke suppression system, and she's had it repaired. In fact, we got a letter from the insurance company saying that they were gonna cancel her insurance
Yes.
because of issues. And she informs me that she's had the situation rectified so that the smoke detector system, her sprinkler system, the suppression system are all operative. She didn't open up until March 1st. And I would suggest to you that when a new business opens up after the renovations, there's always a lot of kinks that have to be worked out. And with respect to May 21st, I don't know when the captain instructed my client that hookers were not allowed or not permissible. But my client informs me that someone brought the hookers in. There were people that had come to her establishment that evening, brought their own. They had their own festivity over her objections. And then the fire department arrived, and she tells me she cooperated with them. She didn't give anybody a difficult time. There was nothing egregious about my client's conduct. She was perfectly cooperative, that's my understanding.
Yes.
And I heard you earlier say that there's no set policy of this board as to what penalties or punishments are gonna be doled out to establishments who violate the no smoking law in the city of Lawrence. I believe I heard you say that.
Something like that, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
the policy hadn't been set.
I would suggest that this is a new opening from new renovations, and this is a one-time incident, my client was cooperative, that you would give her a warning and not suspend her license. I believe that's really a drastic action to take. She just spent a lot of money making the renovations, and essentially shut down for any substantial period of time would put her out of business.
And this is the first time offense?
Yes.
Yes.
First time offense?
Some offenses, yes. However, in terms of having prior knowledge of the existing Board of Health regulation, the latest letter that was sent out to all the bars, nightclubs, and restaurants in the city was dated April 29th. This violation occurred on May 11th.
Through the chair, may I ask what day you opened the kitchen, you started using, serving food? You opened up around 3, 4. What day was your kitchen in service that you started cooking food?
A week, like a week.
So within that week, when we go to an alarm, it was always the alarm near the fire alarm panel. And they go in and they see the red light that it's on, and that's when it's activated. And we take for their word that it was because of cooking. We don't go in and feel the stoves or whatever. But when I heard of this, I said, it's not cooking, deputy. I don't think their kitchen was active. But you know, we take people for their word, and they weren't cooking, so those other activations, I'm not sure if somebody was smoking a cigarette outside, or if it was hookahs, or they did admit to use of a smoke machine, which is not allowed. They were on one night, the second night, they came right back and it was in use. So we have a smoke machine in use 2 nights, one right after they were told not to. It's incumbent on the owner to know what the rules and regulations are. And then the hookahs, however they came about as an establishment, you have to, if they're not allowed, you can't just allow people and come back and say, people brought their own hookahs in. That's an unacceptable statement. I will say they were very cooperative, and when we tell them to do, we ask them to do, they have been very cooperative, and
I spoke to my client about why she didn't call the police, and she was afraid that if she had called the police, she would have gotten in trouble. Her license would have been at risk if she had called the police, because people have brought the hookahs there.
Okay. Thank you. And Lieutenant Smirlino?
I don't have no stake in this.
Okay.
I'm out.
Do you have any questions?
You indicated that all these issues cited by the insurance company have been resolved,
Yes.
so I would just ask.
We have
They
sorry,
said-
ma'am? We have
Saying that you're all
yeah,
set?
that's from the electrician that did the
And
whole
and
system.
those issues relate to the fire suppression system.
Right, but he just noted, but it's just thing, but he took care of everything. We haven't had any other fire alarms or anything of the kind.
no, but I'm aware of.
So we took care of it.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak for Lieutenant Cirillo, but I think, suffice to say, I would tell you, don't ever be afraid to call the police to say, Leslie brought this stuff in, get rid of her and the stuff. It's, we don't run that kind of operation. Your license won't be in jeopardy for doing the right thing.
Correct.
Correct.
That's true.
Of course that's true. You were at the meeting, right?
I
We
was,
talked about that.
yes.
Yeah.
That's, in the past, before.
Trying to steer the ship correctly.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to do. Are there any recommendations from the fire department?
I think a recommendation from the fire department, we roll the hours back for the 2 hours for 2 weeks.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
That would really hurt me right now. I mean, I've been in business for many years. I always try to do the right thing, Pat knows. Really, I mean, this is something that won't happen again, and I would really like an opportunity. not to roll back my hours. I have a mortgage, employees, a lot of things to pay.
Understood. So I make a motion that we do a 2-hour rollback for 2 weeks, and hold that in advance for 6 months. The minute there is a issue, then it goes into effect.
And the latest,
6 months.
6 months.
And would you amend that to include with a
An updated insurance certificate.
insurance, so saying that you should not lose insurance?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So what that means is, as long as you have no incidents for the next 6 months, we will not roll back your hours. It's suspended for 6 months. The minute one thing happens, the minute one, these guys get a call, 2 weeks, we'll throw back hours. And then we'll see you here again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and make sure you get your insurance certificate.
Okay, I will.
Thank you again.
Mere violations, hookahs. Okay.
Dear Mrs. Madam Chair, my name is Arthur Baranos, I represent Mayor Rick. I have the managers here, we own City Joe Brothers. This is not their first violation. It was a violation, they did have hookahs on site. It was probably, I would say, peer pressure, competition for the surrounding businesses. They did come into my office on the violation, and we had a long discussion about, why did you do it again after the first time, and what's to prevent you from doing it a third time? So I explained to them the process that they should go through, reaching out to local government, if they really want to pursue something like that, when they want to continue to do it in the future, versus just doing it, is coming down here to City Hall and meeting with elected officials, government, to see if there's an avenue or path in the future where you could actually get licensed for something like that, rather than just do it on their own. I will say that the facility's they've been up and running for quite a while. They have an older crowd, they haven't had any troubles down there, although Officer President can talk about their record, they have a good history. They do have a pretty safe facility, it's concrete floors, all the furniture's retardant, fire retardant, they do have a sprinkler system, even though that's no excuse for having hookahs in the facility. They do have a pretty good facility to make sure that there wasn't gonna be an issue. They are willing to accept the penalty because they know that they're warned once. So they are here knowingly, willingly, to take a penalty and work with you and try to work with government in the future rather than just doing something. Again, it's been pressure from other businesses locally doing it, and I think they succumb to the pressure to make money. It's a busy time of year, and it seems like more and more people are smoking hookah. So we're glad to hear from the fire department, it's accurate.
Thank you.
I'll just read the incident report from
Go for it.
that night. It was 5/21/2019. Fire prevention was conducting safety inspections of nightclubs. 102 Essex Street, Mere Nightclub was inspected at approximately 12:30 p.m. Upon entry, many tables had charcoal hookahs being used. The staff immediately gathered all hookahs and proceeded to bring them to the kitchen area. The responsible party dumped all hot briquettes into a pail of water in the kitchen sink. Photos were taken of all materials, and fire prevention had a conversation with the owner about the danger of this activity. The manager, the owner, I will say, was very cooperative. The last time we were there, they hid things outside. We told them that, once again, a bad situation made it a lot worse. Please do not do that again. This last time he complied. He came, he made himself available to us in the kitchen. They orderly took all the charcoal briquettes and they disposed of them correctly in the sink in a pail of water. We stepped outside and we had a conversation about you know, the use of hookahs and that. So he was very cooperative. The problem is it's the third time. You tell somebody once, you tell somebody the second
This
time.
is a third violation?
I believe this is the third violation.
We have it as a second violation, it may have been,
In the actual report that was mailed
Yeah,
to
it's
us,
a second
it
violation.
specifies it's the second violation.
Second.
Yes,
Okay.
let me corroborate that, yes. According to my records, the first time he was cited for his
So they have been a
smoking and
warrant.
having pipes was back in January 2018. He was cited again now, this time, issued 2 tickets of $200 each, it's still outstanding, according to the record by International Services, so those need to be paid. But it's, according to my information, it's the second offense.
Second
They
violation.
they are gonna pay, they have 20 days to pay the tickets,
Yep.
they were just waiting to.
See how things go here, though.
Yeah.
You gotta pay them anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, don't worry.
The city's gonna get theirs.
Okay, I'm sorry, Captain Delaney, do you have anything else?
No, what was the last penalty that he served was?
It was a rollback, 2-week rollback.
Just to comment on that, we'd like to offer, if you'd entertain anyway, a big, large fine, maybe like a $3,000 fine. And then instead of like a rollback, even just taken for like 3 to 4 days solid. Which I think is a severe penalty, but it enables them to, willing to offer something like that. Versus a rollback over multiple weeks.
I'm just an advisor, the board
Oh,
makes the
yeah,
decision.
no.
Which is fine,
No. Caesar, do you have anything to add?
No, that's pretty much it, that's a second offense. We've been notified many times that having hookahs or using hookahs is prohibited, but they deliberately have done that.
And for the record, I am extremely disappointed to see you both here.
You guys need to understand, everybody.
You know what, I get that, I get it, everybody's doing it. Everyone's doing it, and everybody says everybody's doing it.
I had them in, and I spent some time with them explaining that there's a process you can go through if you really wanna do it.
Yeah, to change the law,
To change the
absolutely.
law, so
There's processes
they're gonna
to do
start,
that.
rather than just do something,
Yep.
to try to do
If
that.
I could just have a few seconds, just to
Absolutely.
share some thoughts. We have a team that we're working with that we're gonna start seeing what process we can go through to legally obtain the functions. After the last time that we were here and I told you about the horrors that we've been having with our businesses, we kept without hookahs for a while. And honestly, it got to a point where I have maybe 15 people in an establishment that can hold 200 plus people. And it happened for weeks and weeks on that. Just to be competitive in this city and in this environment, you have to do illegal things in order to stay competitive. Now we're gonna go ahead and take them out permanently, but in actuality, in 6 months, we might be closed, And all the effort that we're gonna put into hopefully procuring a legal license to do that, if it were more easily available through the city, you guys would maybe put in some structure for us to follow, all of these businesses would do it. We would invest into whatever infrastructure we need to, but it's just the city isn't being proactive about facilitating that to the public that clearly wants it. I go to barber shops and they offer me hookah. I go to bodegas and they have hookahs. You go to the park and you see teenagers smoking hookah. There's other ways that maybe the energy of the city can be invested into a more productive manner for this.
And I agree with you. I agree that there should be other conversations happening.
Then why are they so hard?
I personally can only, we can only enforce what we are tasked to enforce.
I feel
And
like
at this point in time, we are sitting here talking about you having smoking inside of an establishment that shouldn't have smoking inside the establishment. That's what I'm dealing with. And I'm sorry that it's affecting your business negatively. Having someone say to me that you're doing it because everybody else is doing it, I've heard that many times this evening, and I'll tell you, it's not the way to go. It's not gonna help your case. So at this point, I'm going to make a motion that we suspend for 30 days.
Second motion.
All in favor? Ayes have it. You are suspended for 30 days beginning June 21st. Alright, next one is DeWendy Bar and Restaurant.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Dear Mrs. Madam Chair, my name is Arthur Baranos, I represent Mayor Rink. I have the managers here, we own City Joe Brothers. This is not their first violation. It was a violation, they did have hookers on site. It was probably, I would say, peer pressure, competition for the surrounding businesses. They did come into my office on the violation, and we had a long discussion about, you know, why did you do it again after the first time, and what's to prevent you from doing it the third time? So I explained to them the process that they should go through, you know, reaching out to local government, if they really want to pursue something like that, when they want to continue to do it in the future, versus just doing it, is coming down here to City Hall and meeting with elected officials, government, to see if there's an avenue or path in the future where you could actually get licensed or something like that, rather than just do it on their own. I will say that the facility's they've been up and running for quite a while. They have an older crowd, they've had any troubles down there, although Officer President can talk about their record, they have a good history. They do have a pretty safe facility, it's concrete floors, all the furniture's retardant, fire retardant, they do have a sprinkler system, even though that's no excuse for having hookers in the facility. They do have a pretty good facility to make sure that there wasn't gonna be an issue. They are willing to accept the penalty because they know that they're warned once. So they are here knowingly, willingly, to take a penalty and work with you and try to work with government in the future rather than just doing something. Again, it's been pressure from other businesses locally doing it, and I think they succumb to the pressure to make money. It's a busy time of year, and it seems like more and more people are smoking hookah. So we're glad to hear from the fire department, it's accurate.
Thank you.
I'll just read the incident report from
Go for it.
that night. It was 5/21/2019. Fire prevention was conducting safety inspections of nightclubs. 102 Essex Street, Mere nightclub was inspected at approximately 12:30 p.m. Upon entry, many tables had charcoal hookahs being used. The staff immediately gathered all hookahs and proceeded to bring them to the kitchen area. The responsible party dumped all hot briquettes into a pail of water in the kitchen sink. Photos were taken of all materials, and fire prevention had a conversation with the owner about the danger of this activity. The manager, the owner, I will say, was very cooperative. The last time we were there, they hid things outside. We told them that, you know, that's, once again, a bad situation, made it a lot worse. Please do not do that again. This last time he complied. He came, he made himself available to us in the kitchen. They orderly took all the charcoal briquettes and they disposed of them correctly in the sink in a pail of water. We stepped outside and we had a conversation about, you know, the use of hookahs and that. So he was very cooperative. The problem is it's the third time. You tell somebody once, you tell somebody the second time.
This is a third violation?
I believe this is the third violation.
We have it as a second violation, it may have been.
In the actual report that was mailed
Yeah,
to
it's
us,
the second
it
violation.
specifies it's the second violation.
Yes, let me corroborate that, yes. According to my records, the first time it was cited was
So they've been a
smoking,
while.
having pipes was back in January 2018. He was cited again now, this time, issued 2 tickets of $200 each. It's still outstanding, according to the record by International Services. So those need to be paid. But it's, according to my information, it's the second offense.
They are gonna pay, they have 20 days to pay the tickets,
Yep.
they were just waiting to.
See how things go here, though.
Yeah.
You gotta pay them anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry. The city's gonna get theirs.
Okay, I'm sorry, Captain Delaney, do you have anything else?
No, what was the last penalty that he served? Was
It was a rollback, 2-week rollback.
Just a comment on that, we'd like to offer, if you'd entertain anyway, a big, large fine, maybe like a $3,000 fine, and then instead of like a rollback, even just taken for like 3 to 4 days solid, which I think is a severe penalty, but it enables them to, you know, willing to offer something like that versus a rollback. over multiple weeks.
I'm just an advisor, the board makes the decision.
Which is fine,
No. Caesar, do you have anything to add?
No, that's pretty much it, that's a second offense. We've been notified many times that having hookahs or using hookahs is prohibited, but they deliberately have done that.
And for the record, I am extremely disappointed to see you both here.
Because then you gotta need to understand, everybody.
You know what? I get that. I get it. Everybody's doing it. Everyone's doing it, and everybody says everybody's doing it.
I had them in, and I spent some time with them explaining that there's a process you can go through if you really wanna do it.
Yeah, to change the law,
To change the
absolutely.
law, so
There's processes
they're
to
gonna
do
start, rather than just do something,
Yep.
to try to do.
If I could just have a few seconds, just to
Absolutely.
share some thoughts. We have a team that we're working with that we're gonna start seeing what process we can go through to legally obtain the functions. After the last time that we were here and I told you about the horrors that we've been having with our businesses, we kept without hookahs for a while. And honestly, it got to a point where I have maybe 15 people in an establishment that can hold 200 plus people. And it happened for weeks and weeks on that. Just to be competitive in this city and in this environment, you have to do illegal things in order to stay competitive. Now we're gonna go ahead and take them out permanently, but in actuality, in 6 months, we might be closed, you know? And all the effort that we're gonna put into hopefully procuring a legal license to do that, if it were more easily available through the city, you guys would maybe put in some structure for us to follow, all of these businesses will do it. We would invest into whatever infrastructure we need to, but it's just the city isn't being proactive about facilitating that to the public that clearly wants it. I go to barber shops and they offer me hookah. I go to bodegas and they have hookahs. You go to the park and you see teenagers smoking hookah. There's other ways that maybe the energy of the city can be invested into a more productive manner for this.
And I agree with you. I agree that there should be other conversations happening.
Then why are they so hard?
I personally can only, we can only enforce what we are tasked to enforce.
I feel
And
like
at this point in time, we are sitting here talking about you having smoking inside of an establishment that shouldn't have smoking inside the establishment. That's what I'm dealing with. And I'm sorry that it's affecting your business negatively. Having someone say to me that you're doing it because everybody else is doing it, I've heard that many times this evening, and I'll tell you, it's not the way to go. It's not gonna help your case. So at this point, I'm going to make a motion that we suspend for 30 days.
Second motion.
All in favor? Ayes have it. You are suspended for 30 days beginning June 21st. All right. Next one is DeWendy Bar and Restaurant.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.